They did it dreadfully based on rugby, you know.
So basically what have we learned? Don't be dumb.
So this is why you come to the Mad podcast, because I didn't hear that. So actually, screw them.
We are one of the few countries that test our players from a very young age.
This is not far away. Look, this is far away. Look like a child at Christmas. They're playing international, right?
Does that work?
Yeah.
Times.
And that wasn't because of the empty seats.
And, fair enough.
I think they get Alan Wynne-Jones out of retirement.
That was
Classic.
Gentlemen,
How's it?
how are we? We're well.
Well,
Another
week.
tough weekend of being a Bok fan, eh?
well, it was tougher at times.
Yeah, no, true. But, gents, another episode of The Mad Show. And I think a pretty mad game, pretty mad weekend. So,
Looking forward to getting into it.
yeah, no, listen, my blood pressure, I did get 2 or 3 warnings during the game. My heart rate's a bit high.
We're glad you survived it.
Thank you. Yeah, look, it's a tough job, but someone's got to do it at the end of the day. You know, we've got to suffer so that we can enjoy the rugby. But where's no shoe casualties this weekend?
No, I'm pleased to report no holes in shoes, no dog attacks.
Did you get invited back though?
That's probably why I didn't get invited.
That's probably
back.
what it happened.
Yeah,
eh?
no, exactly. No, it was a relatively, calm experience watching the rugby, but it wasn't because of the nature of the game, which we're going to get into much later. But
And Ronaldo, I believe a weekend in bed for you.
Well, I mean, it was a horrible start to the weekend, but yeah, it was not so good. But like to be feeling better and talking.
Well, at least if you're going to have to be in bed and feel bad all weekend, there's plenty of stuff on the TV to be able
To watch,
to.
yeah. I even watched Wimbledon for the first
there
time.
we
I've
go.
watched the
Even
Wimbledon
watched
final.
Wimbledon.
I love that. Eh? It was
And
awesome.
you've got a culture to the life now. You're going to come
Absolutely.
next week in the full whites and give us the whole breakdown on the Wimbledon vibe.
I definitely agree, and maybe we can go there sometime if we're lucky.
I'll suffer through sometimes at Wimbledon if we have to.
Yeah.
But Jess, let's come up to this weekend. Obviously, the past weekend, lots of cool rugby. We've got under 20s in another final, and some very interesting and contentious stuff to get through. So, without any further ado, should we get into the breakdown?
And we're into the breakdown. This is where we're going to look at the last week of rugby, talk about some of the highlights, some of the news stories that have come out of that section, get the guys' thoughts on it, very, very curious. But before we do that, just to go through some of the results very quickly, we saw a fantastic weekend of rugby. We had the New Zealand, the All Blacks, far too good for the Italians, pipping them 47-17. Sorry, Steve, enough from you.
Yeah.
France versus Australia. Our refs, there it is. France versus Australia. What a first half by the Australians, right? It seemed like a different Aussie side coming out really nice and strong. And then what about that French side? That second half performance, Ren? I mean,
Phenomenal,
phenomenal.
Yeah, I think we don't really have to go too far. I mean, just look at the way in which that forward pack dominated. I think we just spoke a little bit more about that. But the ability to have transition, and I think we spoke about transition play the previous weeks, and the French team are able to move the ball from the point of contact and able to score on the outside. It's just phenomenal.
Absolutely. No, and the game that was super engaging was then Ireland and Japan. The Japanese really...
Yeah, I told you, those Irish teams on forward wash. Not to discredit what Japan did, but
Yes.
that scoreline does not do that game credit because that was in the balance for a while.
Yeah.
I blame the location. But okay.
Agreed. Yeah,
There it is again.
Yeah, let's not get too contentious. I think it was in Japan, different story.
And then speaking about a game that wasn't contentious, England and Fiji.
What an absolute letdown.
Yeah.
Disaster, wrong venue, wrong stupid red cards, and Pollock getting a hat-trick. That'll please a lot of people.
That'll please a lot of people, but clearly not Steve. So that score, just for everyone, if you didn't catch the game, England victorious 73 points to 8. So a massive blowout. That's a thumping. Yeah.
It's worrying times for Fiji, and that's also off the back after one of the chair of their union basically came out and said it's not good enough. They get all the resource, which I thought was a bit harsh to basically say they get all the resource. So I was like, you having seen what the Boks get, I don't think Fiji get quite the same sort of treatment. But it's sad to see a Fijian side which did so well in the last World Cup still struggling to be able to take steps forward.
And again, they're not playing. They don't have home advantage. They're not being allowed to have all of their alignment camps, their training sessions. So there's again, that's a loaded statement by one of the members there. But yeah, it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
Imagine you being a South African and you're told, okay, you're going to go play in Italy.
Yeah, because we need the money.
Okay.
You know, so we're gonna basically choose to have our games like Twickenham and things like that because financially we need the money versus bring them over to Fiji, give them some some jet lag, make it hard for them to end the day. So I'll start against them.
But again, I do want to make this point. It's an important one. I think we don't always remember a lot of the Fijian players play their rugby outside of the Pacific Islands.
I think most
so they
of
play
them, yeah.
a lot of. So it does logistically make sense to get some of them because they do have 1 or 2 alignment camps. But I'm just talking about from a rugby culture perspective. We did speak about what does it mean to play rugby. You play for the support. Play obviously to inspire and to grow the game. If the Nations Championship is really wanting to grow the game, are we doing it?
Well, get involved in those comments. We'd love to know, what do you think about Fiji and sort of their predicament at the moment? Do you think they should be playing in Fiji? Do you think they should be doing these overseas trips, trying to get in the money? Let us know, please. We'd love to hear. 2 more games to go then from the weekend. Yeah. A strong Argentine was dominant over Wales, 35-21. Much kind of more used to the Argentina we were used to seeing.
I think Wales were in with a shot. It's good to see Wales competing, and I think there's a couple of players. It's interesting because Wales have had a couple of coaches pick quite similar players, so it's not a case of a coach has come in and decide, well, you picked all the wrong players. I think that the squads have remained a bit similar, a couple of other players coming in, but it's good to see players who were backed at times and not sort of really come through starting to stand up. I think somebody like a Sam Costello is starting to look more and more comfortable at test match level. I mean, they lost too many players in a quick succession. You can't lose a Lee Halfpenny, George North, Dan Bigger. And there's too many players that they. I mean, a Falatau, for example, transforms that team tomorrow.
Do you think they get Alan Wynne-Jones out of retirement?
We might as well at this stage.
I think he's got the boots ready.
Yeah, I mean, we laugh, but I think he has been a big absentee, and I think. Huge. I mean, they've got 2 world-class players. They've got 2 players who, on any given day, you could motivate to be in. Let's say if you wanted to say which players from Wales could get into a Springbok squad, besides Thomas Williams and Jack Morgan, there's no conversation. And those 2, there's a conversation, but you can't have 2 players and everybody else is just a complete level below, unfortunately, at this stage. But good to see they are getting a bit better. And hopefully we'll see a step forward from them this weekend. Tough
opposition to do that. So, but I mean, if there's ever an opportunity to prove where you're at and your Mestel,
they did it 2 years ago. They beat us in Bloem.
They did, and 2 years, not a long time. And then finally, the creme de la creme game of the weekend, maybe not even the weekend, perhaps the year. South Africa versus Scotland. That was a test for the ages, it's being called.
Yeah, I mean, never in doubt, really. That was classic. That was when the watch when he raced to our 20-point lead, and I was like,
finished.
Easy game, easy. Oh, hang on.
So for those of you who didn't somehow catch the game, South Africa victorious over Scotland, 42 points to 28. But just like the Ireland-Japan game, that scoreline definitely not true to form of the game. Ren, just very quickly, because we are going to dive into this game now, your top takeaways from that game.
Yeah, I suppose you need to look at the way in which I think Scotland has structured their defence. I think they were a lot more disruptive than I think South Africa thought. And I specifically want to talk about the breakdowns. I mean, in that first couple of sequences, we had a lot of disruptive ball. And, I mean, it did obviously, towards the end of the game, bite us, I think, again, where Scotland, again, disrupted us. So I think Scotland's ability to disrupt our breakdowns was really good. I think we actually fronted up nicely in certain areas. The next part that was obviously a big one is obviously the kicking game. I think it was fantastic to see both fly-offs coming into the fore. And just
Finn Russell's just such a... I've never seen a fly half, and I suppose playing for Scotland for so many years you have to, but being able to adapt, even if you're not on the front foot and struggling, it's just a couple of touches, couple of kicks where he just... I mean, him and Tupolotto, it's just so much fun to watch and so interesting to watch.
Correct, yeah. And I think that's the beauty of it, is to see players' calibre coming to the fray, or coming to the fore, in the sense of them taking ownership of it. So I think it was phenomenal to watch Scotland just fight back. And it was nervous times for a lot of people. Loftus was silent for a couple of times.
And that wasn't because of the empty seats.
And, fair enough. And I mean, at some point they said Rassi's doing the light system again, because Loftus just got the new light system back in. So it was quite funny. Yeah. I love that, by the way. So big ups, Bulls. But yeah, it was really, I think lights were shot out by Scotland, and I think South Africa also came back strongly and proved why they're South Africa.
Yeah, look, Scotland fronted it up. I think that's it was cool to see them being able to physically match us in some of the collisions. Yep. I thought Pierce Schoolman had a worldie. I love seeing My parents' controversial thing is I love seeing our South Africans doing well. Watching Bernard Jans from Rensburg get capped this weekend.
Score a try.
Smile
First touch of the ball.
But the entire week, every single time, he just had this, he looked like a child at Christmas. Yeah. He's playing international rugby. So I love seeing Pierre Schoeman, matching up to Wilco Low, who they played juniors with. They had a photo afterwards and saying, I can match you. And then impacts. And I think that was an interesting thing. I thought the bench, there wasn't a drop-off for Scotland. And we always talk about the Bok depth. And at the end of the day, rugby's played with 15 and then 20, and up to 23 players on the day. And I think Scotland now finally have a bit of depth. I thought, Bayliss off the bench was tremendous. So I think it was very positive from Scotland, even if they continue to kind of be always the bridesmaid, never the bride, because for how long do we talk about them being a plucky side versus, well, you actually probably are a top 3 side. When do they start getting those big results?
Well, and on that point, we spoke about it last week. We said which Scotland is going to show up. And again, it was with Finn Russell. So it seems to be, we know there are 2 different sides, a Scotland with Finn and a Scotland without. And that's an issue because look what's happened to Ireland. Right, that sort of fall off where we say, okay, well, maybe when they lose a bit of their talisman, Johnny Sexton, that form drops, and they need to make sure that they've got depth in that position as well, and that system doesn't rely on the likes of the self-acclaimed Messi of rugby. But let's move on then. So Scotland, we've given them credit for what they've done really well. I'd like to know your guys' takes now on the Boks, right? So we've picked up where Scotland did well. Where did the Boks, let's start with maybe not do so well, and then we'll end on a positive. Ren, what do you think? Where were the Boks maybe caught lacking a little bit this weekend?
Yeah, I think other than the obvious in terms of certain system defensive errors, and I say system errors, we get caught out in our pillar A, pillar B defensive line. So sometimes not having a tackler who's made a tackle, don't get on his feet quick enough in order to be there, so to have that pillar defence. So you would have seen a lot of the Scottish, attackers run into that vacuum.
Fast, quick.
So I think we don't have the sternum tackle rule yet at that level. So I think we could have had a lot more dominant hits. Dominant hitters probably making sure we put them behind the gain line. So I think we could have done a lot better in terms of in that department.
Interesting. That's the stat that Sia Khaleesi led last year in the world. Number of dominant tackles.
And then you ask how many double tackles do we also have. So what happens is how they describe the stat is the person that makes the initial hit, but then you've got what they call a driver that comes, and I think you would have also been coached this. You just basically latch onto that player and then you drive that the ball carrier back. So a lot of that I think was kind of missing in the first part. However, again, back to the breakdowns, it was such a wildly contested breakdowns, zone, and I think you guys can weigh in on that as well. But I do feel like South Africa could have done a lot better with what the breakdowns that we had in specific areas. We could have scored more tries, build momentum instead of trying to go wide early enough. Just trying to bully them, and trying to hurt them early enough. I think Scotland kind of felt, okay, we're all right because they're not hurting us as they should. And then maybe just to wrap up, maybe from my side. Towards the end of the game, I think we try to play at a rapid pace. And I think from a turnover counter perspective, again, with transition, we weren't in position to actually tackle the Scottish defenders. That's why Tuapilot and Carl Steyn could actually manipulate us there.
I mean, in many ways, I think the last 20 minutes was, I suppose, to a certain degree, almost a bit of an inevitable in terms of we picked a bench that was going to up the ante. We saw, Jan Vessels, Zach Porthen, this is not, they're not massive, big, it's not Wilco Low, Thomas Toy, these are athletic forwards. So I think we're always going to try and up the ante, try and lift the pace of things towards the end of the game, which I suppose also then again plays into Scotland's hand. Because if you're not ready and you kind of spread wide, then we are susceptible to those sort of line breaks. I think the interesting part, as you mentioned, just going wide too quickly. Again, I think we didn't earn the right to go wide. And I think something like an Edwin van der Merwe, for example, was starved of opportunities.
Hardly in the game.
Didn't really get a chance to kind of go one-on-one with someone and have a bit of time when he's running onto a ball and saying, right, cool, now I'm on the front foot. So, I think there was definitely a couple of learnings in terms of, we're still scoring lots of tries, and that's the nice thing. And different types of tries. There's lots of different ways that we can score, which is quite nice. Obviously, we're never going to be phenomenally cohesive given the amount of changes. But nice to give some more players some minutes. Nice to see. There were a couple of tremendous moments. The Kobus Visa run. I thought. You talk about athletic props. Bowen Fenter is kind of more your traditional set piece, orientated prop. But as a Lions fan, I watched him going, there's a player there in terms of like nice soft skills, got around the park quite nicely. I mean, he actually overran Cooper's Visa with the supporting run. Now I see, released the loose here. So there's some nice performances, but obviously also a couple. But I always like seeing red flags in a game like that because it's nice to be able to say, okay, cool, we're not quite there yet, and I think it's nice to always have that kind of reminder to the players. We can't rest on the laurels.
No, absolutely. And I think I've got 2 points here, and then I'd love to start to hear about what we think the Boks did well, because we've touched on a little bit. But I think we, in a weird way, we almost would have been happy, not happy, because we never want to lose. Brussie never wants to lose, the Boks never want to lose. But had we lost that test match, I think we could have swallowed it because we would have known what the goal was. The goal was to give guys shots out there, give them an opportunity. But we truly only lose if we don't learn. Right? Like that's it. I mean, we can win and still lose if we don't learn, right? So what are the teams taking away? What are the players taking away, the coaching staff, from what they're seeing? And I'm sure they're taking their lessons and learning them. Second thing I said here, it was great to make some of the debutants or the fresh faces, the guys with the low cap numbers, go to the well.
Yeah,
we heard that phrase so many times in 2023, and the Boks had to go to the well in the last those playoff games, and to sort of get the youngsters and say, hey, there's not always water at the surface. You got to go to the well and go find some. Steve?
Yeah, and I think it's a very good point. I think being able to put, we always talk about and we also we like to take opposition to the gutters and see if they can survive there. Now we're seeing, can we survive there? And I think that was an interesting point. We talk about, and I was listening, it was Ben Jason Dixon was speaking about it, and he was basically saying how he was blowing week before, and he said this week was a bit better, but we talk about altitude as if we're immune. And I think, it was interesting to see some of the players who definitely, I think, were tired and were struggling with sometimes the intensity. And that's what a lot of the players say when they have their debut. They said it's just a different level. You can look as good as you want in test in URC, but there's just a level above. So I think it was I described it as the perfect game. I said it was the perfect game where we got the right result, we got bonus points, we tested a lot of players, we gave them a scenario where they had to really dig deep, and against a side that was good. They were a good side. So the confidence that those players will take where they were tested, and I suppose they passed. Yes, we conceded 2 tries, but did we win? Yes. So you passed. There are warnings, and it was a bit close, boys, but they passed. And to be able to do that against one of the top sides in the world is a huge thumbs up for me.
That's a very, very good point. I think that perfect game mentality is nice. Ren, your takeaway from, if the Boks did one thing well, what is your gold star for the Boks in that performance?
I think probably the ability to not let Scotland have that belief more than they're supposed to have. So how they killed certain things. So when there was line breaks, there were always enough defenders to try and suffocate that ball carrier and make them doubt. So sometimes what happens is you put attacking teams under pressure, and I think that's what we did. They had 7 clean line breaks, which is obviously through, but then our ability to have good scramble is I think, for me, a standout, because Scotland, in my opinion, actually threw the game away. Because they had a lot more opportunity to score. But they threw the game away because South Africa put their skill under pressure. So well done to South Africa for putting their skill under pressure,
That's very good. We'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think the Boks did well this weekend? What do you think they didn't do too well either? And let us know if there's anything else that we've spoken about in the breakdown so far. We do read your comments. We love to get involved, so please make sure you're getting there, engaging with us, guys. But that was the breakdown for the second week of the Mad Podcast.
Right, lads, we're going to go to the Loose Trio, which is a bit of a new segment that we're going to be dropping, and talking now 3 stories. They're quite serious this week. The idea is hopefully get some fun stories, but this is test match season, serious stories. But a bit of quick fast for those who are kind of jumping in over here to be able to give a bit of a news breakdown. First things first, SA Rugby, a bit of egg on their face yesterday, having to come out and admit that they need to review the ticket prices post 2026 with a view of bringing them more down or to alignment with the general public. Where's your back at Ernie Rands and seeing it,
feeling it?
Yeah, and I think it's had to happen, didn't it?
No, absolutely. I mean, like, I was quite harsh against the South African Rugby Union, like going after the prices. I thought they were price gouging, and then actually read the statement that was made, and something that set me back a little bit was the fact that apparently Saru made a loss in 2025.
Yeah, 14 million rand loss after 2 billion rand revenue. I feel like it's relatively negligible.
Okay, well, there we go. So this is why you come to the Mad Podcast, because I didn't hear that. So actually, screw them. Like, make the tickets free. That's nonsense. No, it's inexcusable. When we have such great documentaries or Gees Ubuntu vibe that, talks about people being as part of the side, like the success, the players play for the people and the people support the players. We can't then go and have pricing out of the fans. I don't know, Ren, your thoughts on that? I mean,
yeah, again, like I said, the first time we spoke about this, it's obviously twofold. Saru has got their objectives in terms of their 10-year, 20-year plan. So I think obviously they've got certain targets to hit, and I think their business model is based on, obviously, can we get the right resources in place? Can we get the right partners from a strategic perspective in place? Can we roll out a high performance program that is, big? And I suppose we can nitpick that to a certain degree. But for me, the inverse is not explaining it, I think, to the general public in detail allows people to have this speculation. So I think there should have been a little bit
transparency,
a bit of proactiveness in terms of saying, okay, cool, we're all going to get 4 technical advisors that are going to work with the Springboks full time because we want to win. We are going to get, Felix shows back from England where best, paying.
I mean, we had to start saving up for Jacques' return.
So there's a lot of, but you get what I'm saying, there's a lot of real, decisions
costs,
that they are making.
Yeah.
I mean, just the way in which, the stadium looks, all of the branding,
They've taken over that whole part of it as well. Previously, basically, your unions would pay a certain thing and say, cool, this is how much we get for the test match. Right now, it's our venue. We get the ticket sales. We do a lot of the branding and a lot of the systems. Now it's a Rugby take over the match day.
Yeah. So there's, and again, I think there's a deeper conversation there. And I really like the transparency conversation. We're like, okay, cool. This is what we're trying to do. This is what SA Rugby as the union, because their responsibility is to look after rugby in the country. If they probably, Parliament had a conversation with him, I think, or not a conversation, a hearing, I think 3 years ago, specifically about, okay, now we're going to have a privatized business. So I think a lot of those things would have not, been such a big point of topic. But and again, that's the point of doing something and then, having some egg on your face, wiping it off, and then, communicating against her. That's just from me as a rugby purist perspective. I'm not necessarily as big as a, fan. I love the rugby in the back end of it. And I do understand there's a lot of stuff. I don't even want to talk about the amount of logistical cost that's into it. So, yeah.
No, look, it costs a lot to run the box. It does. We see you've got the best coaches in the world, you've got the best players in the world. We've got to give ourselves the best chance of doing it. And it is working. I think the frustration comes with just the exorbitant increase we've seen like 2 years in a row, where it basically doubled and then almost doubled again. And people are saying, we understand this is the world champions, we understand the product that we are watching, but we don't have the money, at the end of the day. You can justify it until the cows come home. You can say this is incredible value for money. If we don't have it, we don't have it. And I think what they realize now is that it's not a case of we don't want to. People are just saying we just can't afford it at the end of the day. So it's not even come down to whether is it worth it. That's the problem. It's no longer the question. Oh, it's a bit pricey, but what an experience. Now it's blanket. We just can't afford it. And another not so great story is an under 20 player testing positive in a bit of a doping scandal. A test has come back with a adverse reading. Obviously, a B sample has been requested to test, so let's cross fingers that comes out. I don't want to talk about that player. I want to talk about we've got a reputation, whether it's earned, whether it's valid. There's a reputation. The world has got an idea that there's a lot of doping issues within South African rugby. I think we've got to own that to a certain degree. We can't say, no, we don't, because we do. At the end of the day, Asanati, I've spoken that to length, and it's not his fault, but there was a systematic issue there. There's a doping charge. Spoon Corsi is currently serving a suspension. Alton Yankees is serving a suspension. Now we've got an under 20 player serving a suspension. Look, it's not quite Georgia, where urine samples and people missing tests and stuff like that, but there is an issue. Similarly, it's not a win. You can't ever call it a win. But in many ways, when people do get caught and there is these situations, there is a certain amount of the system is there, the system is working, and it's, I mean, for everyone that says, well, you can see, obviously, you see, of course, there's doping. For every test that there is that is negative, it does go to show you that the players are being tested, which means that players who are not returning adverse ones are clean within what they're taking and stuff like that. Yes, there are people who say you can jip the system and the likes of that, but I think the reality is we do test very extensively. And I mean, Ronald, I'm sure you would have been tested back in the day and stuff, but that's a good thing at the end of the day, to be proactive about this.
No, I mean, we actually had the privilege of having the testing centre in Bloem back in the day. So, that unfortunately has closed down. So, unfortunately, I just want to read to someone there. So, we've had a decrease from 785 tests in 2015 to 127 in 2024, meaning it has drastically changed in terms of the amount of players that get tested per cycle. But also what has happened now is targeted testing takes place. So, like for example, we've just in South Africa had the Craven Weeks. You would have had your doping testing centres, doping testing hubs set up at the various Craven Weeks, and we are one of the few countries that test our players from a very young age. So I think a lot of the players still fall under the pressure of that performance base. So obviously you want to be the best. Imagine playing in a country where every single player that is in your position is phenomenally talented, they're hardworking. Funny enough, I think there's a story that's just unverified. South Africa, they've got a selection policy. There's 12 things that you've got to pass. Being a good rugby player is only number 10. So the rest of the others is based on one, are you compliant? Can you fit in the culture? There's a lot of those things. I can't divulge too much of that. But South Africa, yes, we've got an issue with players testing positive, but we're the only country where it's at a high demand to actually rise to the occasion. So I do think we'll have these players that fall into those traps, whether it will be compliance in terms of the doctor not doing the right checks, players being forced by their coaches, because there's a lot of those factors. So
yeah, I mean that's a very good point in terms of the coaches. Sorry to jump in there, but just for who the ways. I mean, for example, I remember years ago there was a certain very prominent school, and they blanket tested the team. What you said, as you said, when we used to be able to test for fun, essentially, and like 12 or 13 return adverse. And ironically, they weren't the top players. It wasn't like these were these 12 incredible players, and they were. It was like some of the bench players, some of the art players. So it's not like it's a zero-sum, easy. If I dope, I'm going to make it. Sure. So there was that issue, and they said, I think now that we are seeing again more targeted testing of, cool, where are we seeing people who, tick a certain amount of boxes in terms of maybe appearances or performance levels or whatever, and we are trying to now very deliberately catch out the people trying to gain an advantage versus previously where people were testing positive despite being relatively average in inverted commas.
I think two things quickly that come to my mind while we wrap this up is again from someone on the outside, so not as involved as you guys are, but one thing that I've heard in the articles I've read or the stories I've seen is that it's so technical or it's so complicated what is allowed, what isn't allowed. Things change regularly. So I think, again, not to take any blame away from those guilty parties who are taking banned substances to gain advantages. But I think potentially the list of cleared items or rather banned items should be really straightforward as much as possible because new things are coming up all the time. So it's a balance, but we need to make sure we've got that there. That's the first. Second thing is that we need to... We have to catch up because I completely forgot my train of thought. Hold on. Second thing is basically, as a scientist, right, we need to look for, not confirmation bias, but Steve, you alluded to our rate of testing. Ren, you spoke about it as well. Are we getting so many more results because we're testing so much more than other countries? Ren, you spoke about from young ages. So actually to compare the alleged steroid rage Springboks, right, or South Africans, we need to first look at, well, how many tests are we doing in a year total and how many positive results are coming back, and then compare that to other nations and countries as well.
I mean, the good news, for example, is, before us in that situation, which he supposedly self-incriminated, we had a period before the World Cup, and that's going back 2018. Before that, now we're going back to 2012, 2013. So, the accusations of the Springboks are all steroid-filled. Well, go look at the last decade. Look at the number of Springboks we've had, the number of players we represented, and then the number of players who have actually had legitimate bans. And it's often players who have moved on or in different situations when things start to go awry versus because a lot of players, especially now, they're in an environment where you've got the resources to be able to check all these things, you've got people who are monitoring more, and I think that's the big thing, is the education is there. And if you've got the systems in place, it becomes a lot easier to do that. But it's an interesting thing and something we can't ignore.
I do think maybe from an audience perspective, just everyone can just refer to the South African Institute for Drug-Free Sport, testing centres, and just go read up on all the legislation and the rules there, so that you can familiarise yourself if you, for example, have got kids in your environment or young athletes. Just remind them of certain things, because I think the more we actually have positive reinforced communication and info about the sport in South Africa, not just rugby, because there's a lot of other topics, the better we can counter these narratives.
It's a very good point.
So last week, guys, we did the hotly contested topic of the anthems, rating nations' anthems. I think we got it spot on.
Well, we're going to talk about Argentina.
Well, thank goodness we didn't do that before this weekend.
On our match show WhatsApp group, me and Wes were seconds apart after watching that Argentina anthem going, they are so lucky we did not do that this week. I don't know if you saw it, but it was dreadful.
Yeah, and again, it's so difficult because unless you are at the stadium experiencing it there, sometimes the audio can be horrible, the sequencing there's a lot of factors.
No, the harmonica just doesn't work.
Yeah, but hence I'm saying, there's a lot of those things that they did it dreadfully based on rugby, No, not the other stuff. People would have said, oh yeah, but it's a beautiful anthem. Yeah. So that's why, again, I stick with the Welsh anthem being the best, because they sang, it doesn't matter.
You're playing the Welsh anthem again. All right,
I know.
moving on. Okay, so you saw how contested. If you haven't seen last week's episode, go watch our ranking of the anthems. It was quite
rugby
good.
rating.
This week we are going to be talking about another contentious issue, which you will have lots of thoughts about at home. But gents, I'm curious. The question for this week is, who is the most underrated Springbok of all time? All right, just let that sink there for a bit. I want you guys in your heads at home. Who is the most underrated Springbok of all time?
I'm not going to go Alton Yankees, don't worry.
Are you sure?
I was tempted. I was going to bat for my boy.
An old rose?
I was going to got old early. Steve, you got any thoughts?
I've got a contentious one.
Have you got candidates? Did you have a top three, or did someone jump to your mind?
So the reason that when we kind of circled is I was talking yesterday in my live show about JC Creel, and I was saying we've never quite given him the flowers he deserved. During 2023, and I was watching the France game last night, and he was ridiculous. But I felt he was finally getting the flowers. He's always called, and the problem is, he was always guilty of not being the Kanyam, who was a freak on his day. But I've always said JC Creel is just a solid 10 out of 10, skills, whatever, effort, rugby player. And it got me thinking about some of the underrated players, some like a Franco Mostert, who again eventually started getting it. I've got one. It's contentious because I don't think anyone will say that he's not a celebrated Springbok. He's probably one of our greatest Springboks from a personality point of view. I don't think we ever appreciated the rugby player that was John Smith.
Interesting.
That's my contentious one in terms of what he was as a player. Because I was watching a podcast the other day. I want to say it was Jamie George, and they said you're in the front row. Obviously as a hooker, for example, it is obviously you're not quite a prop, but and he said, was there any people that stepped up? And he said John Smith gave me an absolute, basically masterclass, in terms of a scrummaging hooker. And he said, and then he swapped into loose head, basically, did the same thing, and then he swapped into tight head. And he was saying people don't understand how difficult it is to go from a hooker to tight head, which Smith did. And I think we remember him as this phenomenal captain, well-spoken leader, led us to the thing, but I don't think we've ever appreciated, again, because we had Bismarck du Plessis at the time, take away the captaincy as a rugby player, hell, he was a good player.
I think it's a fair shout. When I think of John, I think of captain, right? And then I think of that catch he did, where he caught it by the end of the ball, the one hand, and that's it, right? I mean, and it's so true. And I don't think of him as this amazing scrummager or hooker, because he was just the captain, and you looked for leadership and decisions, and he was brilliant at that as well. But I think it's a good shout. Steve, do you have any comments on Steve's pick there, Ren?
Does the era, when you play rugby also determine the type of rugby you can play? Because we're also looking at what was he kind of tasked to. Remember the Springboks, when he was playing, were very task-orientated Springboks. So meaning, you know, you were a hooker, you were a front row player.
Yeah, that's what you
You
do.
had for specific things that you do. So you would never have had to play a zip ball out the back or, you know, show off. Yes, you did have that, you know, catches and stuff. But there's a lot of, I think, dynamics that sometimes play, you know, with that. And I think our players that we'll mention also, I think maybe, I know definitely my player also has got stuff that counted against them because of the era in which they played rugby. I think I get...
No, let's
Give it up.
go.
Give it up. Who you got?
So for me,
Who are you fighting for?
it's and I had a couple of, for me, Marcel Coetzee as one of the most underrated players. I think he probably gets he can own the definition of saying the most unluckiest player.
Yes.
Where, you know, the era that he played in, I mean, just realistically thinking, he played in Ireland, captained Ulster. I don't know a lot of people know this. That is brilliant. Then playing for the Bulls, I mean, that time, you've got to look at the way in which, you know, a lot of players like Peter Steff, Sia, and recently Jasper coming into the fray, big ball carrying number 8, which he does, you know, and also he could have probably been the one player that we can use in multiple positions, like we did at Kwacha, like we do, you know, some of the players that are there now. So I think his era that he came to the fray was also very, very unlucky.
Yeah, all those injuries when he first started coming through. And he would come through, would look good, and we're like, oh, here's Marcel, bang, injured again.
You know what I mean? So, but also the type of rugby they were playing, remember when he came to the, you know, like fruition, a lot of breakdowns were not as reft as it is now. So his knee injuries, most of them came from illegal ruck cleanouts. A lot of it was freak accident, you know, things. So I think unlucky. And I do think that he was a good Springbok first, and I think if he had played in the proper Rassie era, and I say Rassie, and I'm more referring to Rassie's backroom staff, Don, Hima, and Felix, and those guys working with him, he would have been phenomenal.
That's a good shout. All right, for my take.
I love how the two backline players are both gone forwards. And now you're going to come out here and name a wing.
Well, it's funny you say that, Steve, because actually I had 3 players and that were sort of mulling around in my head, and I'll give you the runners-up just very quickly. So in third position, I thought Brayton Paulser.
Trust ways to have a list. I mean,
Yep.
This is like the predictions all over again.
There we go.
Brayton
Phenomenal.
Paulser.
Brayton Paulser, because I think he was overshadowed. Again, it comes back to this theme of like the era. Like think about the wings playing around him at the
I was
time.
like Arjun Shahs for years.
Right.
Poor guys could never get test matches.
Exactly. And so
And then he goes and captains us.
And so Brayton, you know, and I think if you think about Habana at the time, just what form he was in, I mean, the top test try scorer of all time, and it's pretty difficult to maybe get some recognition like that. I think Brayton would have done, he did brilliantly, but he would have done even more brilliantly in this era of wings that we seem to have, you know, the small sort of fast, exactly to his style of play. Very quickly then, Andre Joubert. So going back to our 1995 team, throwing it back.
Back when we were watching.
Yeah, exactly. No, I've done my research here, Steve. You can see I've upped my game. I've got
Basically,
my notebook.
I came out the womb. Right, where's the lads?
But the reason he was there is because of, again, you know, Joel Stransky and his influence, obviously, on the box and the kick that got us the World
He's
Cup.
one of those players. I think he's like an original the streets won't forget, because my dad often talks about, I'll tell you, Andre Joubert didn't play as many games as he should have, but I'll tell you, that guy was a...
Yeah.
You know, there's always those kind of players where you think, as I said, the streets won't forget kind of player.
But my pick is a forward.
I
Is a
have
forward.
such high hopes for you.
And it's actually Juan Smith. Solid flanker, you know, again, I think overshadowed by all the
I think
flashier...
potential to say he's underrated. I think that, I mean, do you say he's saying he never got his flowers? Well, I suppose he wasn't as... He didn't have long blonde hair.
That's it. Do you know what I mean? There was Skulk on the field, and you knew when Skulk had the ball or was at a ruck or getting tackled or tackling because there was this mop of hair. Sorry, Skulky, that's no longer there. But, you know, you just knew it was like the signpost. But Juan just went, for me as a modern, like if I had to do a modern equivalent, almost like a Jesse Creel, just does his job in day, does it well, scored tries, and maybe even like a Ruan Nokia as well. I mean, that guy.
So basically, John Smith was Peter Steph before Peter Steph was cool.
Basically.
Yeah, that workhorse edge. He was one of my favourite players growing up. Absolutely loved watching him play.
It's a very cool question, I mean, to figure out.
Because there's so many other players. I mean, I joked about Arjun Shahs, but I mean, that guy should have played, he probably would have played 100 tests for other nations. And he could never get a chance. He was behind Smith and then behind Bismarck. And then, as he said, he did capture us because he was in and around. But also, again, he couldn't get get into the side. There's far too many players who didn't get their chance. And players, I think, who also maybe played a lot of games, but we never really think of them as those core members, what they did. So it's a fun thing. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the comments say about their most
Please
underrated
do,
players.
and get involved in those comments. We'd, again, love to hear your most underrated Springbok of all time.
Yeah.
There's quite big, I think we all sort of maybe agree with selections, you know, if there's like a Hall of Fame type thing for underrated.
Yeah, but it is Alton Yankees in terms of the right.
But let me ask you this then. Has anyone had their minds changed? So from your pick, have you been convinced by anyone else's arguments here? Do you think actually that's a good shout? I agree with Wes, for argument's sake.
Nah. Sorry, Wes.
That's fair enough. Nice and contentious there. We're going to try now get ready for the Maul of Fame and Shame. So let's get into it. Right, we are now going into the Maul of Fame and Shame. So, slight update for those of you who watched in the last 2 episodes. We've had a Maul of Fame, but we've been very busy this week. Look at this, lovely. And we've got basically 2 rankings. So the Maul of Fame, guys, is going to be for rugby clips that are just epic, and the Maul of Shame is going to be quite the opposite. You should hang your head in shame and maybe turn the scrum cap around so people can't see your face.
So essentially, it's the Wes and the Steve.
On opposite day. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to just quickly review those 2 clips that we've looked at previously. The first clip that we looked at in the week, if you remember, was that enormous hit. Wasn't this one? This was last week's one.
I looked at the first one previously.
All good, yeah. So this, again, for those, is the USA against Portugal. A fantastic maul into the try zone and over the dead ball line.
Still love the player trying to drag his own player down. Good times.
And so no try is scored, unfortunately. So what we do is we give that a rating. We give it a score. We give it either 3 for a penalty kick, 5 for a try, 7 for a converted try. We then put it out to you guys. We'd love to know your scores. And some of you got involved, which is fantastic. So we are going to be able to rate that score now. So I can reveal that American, the try that never was, basically it received a 5 from Ronaldo, a try, a 5 from you, Steve, a 5 from producer James. I'm going to update my score now that we've got these 2 sides, right? Because it was unfair last week, not quite as accurate as I wanted to be. I gave it a 3 because I thought, it wasn't such a good clip. But it definitely goes onto our Maul of Shame side. So that's getting a 5 from me as well. So that's 25 from us here in the studio. You guys got involved and gave an average rating of 5.6. So thank you to those of you who do get involved in the polls. You can see you're round about where we are.
Yeah, it's not very exciting. Well, I suppose we're all very aligned.
Yes, that's exactly. We're all there. Some of you thought it was worse. Some of you gave a converted try. So that then gives us a total score of 25.6. So at the moment, on our Maul of Shame,
It's going to go to the top.
it's going to go right at the top there. That's sitting with a 25.6. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, right, okay. And then this week's candidate.
So now moving on to this week's. Steve, what you got for us?
It's pretty diabolical.
Oh, no. I
it is
saw
our
this.
English foes, NAM20s. Last night, in fact.
Oh.
Guys, it's 2026. How do you think that you can still get away with that?
No.
I think it's pretty diabolical, isn't it?
You've made the tackle.
And then, yeah, so I think that, I just also had to rub it in the fact that not only did we dust England a couple of weeks ago, but we've now just dusted their lighties. So as you can see, they're not coping particularly well.
No, and that's not a good coping mechanism.
Interesting enough, this moment in the game was a big changer because it was early. So what had happened was if they had not conceded a penalty there, they actually had a penalty advantage in their favour on the other side. So there was a TMO check, and they were brought back. So again, it's really, really unprofessional.
So basically, what have we learned? Don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb. Don't be dumb. So this is clearly going on the Maul of Shame side as well. So another candidate there. I don't even think I have to ask what everyone's scores are, but we're going to do it. Steve, penalty, try, converted try?
You split the polls there. That's a 7.
Down the middle.
Down the middle.
So
Andre Pollard at 2019 World Cup. That is, there's nothing you can say to try and make that better. Right in front of the cameras, it's just ridiculous.
Well, if that was Varsity Cup, we would have given that a 9-pointer and then a conversion point of origin, because that is just literally 7. No, that's very disappointing. I'm more disappointed. That's why it's shameful, because you're actually bringing shame to the game. Sorry.
That's heavy.
That was Ronaldo in education.
Yes.
Disappointed dad.
Absolutely.
Echo. That's a converted try for me. That's pretty diabolical. What we're going to do then is we're going to get producer James's score. And once again, guys, please do get involved in the polls that we put out. Anything that you see on social media, get involved. We'd love to hear your score. And next week we'll update it and see if anything moves on our Maul of Shame and Maul of Fame board.
Yep.
Right, gentlemen, we're going to get into a bit of trial lie. Have you got your paddles at the ready? Not tennis racket this time, Ronaldo. I know that next week we can come back with a couple of babblats. But we didn't get through this last week because we had so much else to talk about. But basically, if you are new, trial lie is going to be, our producer is going to give us a couple of questions, or statements rather, and we're going to give it either a try or a lie. And we've got a stand-in this weekend, so producer James is gallivanting in Durban following the box. So producer Derek is behind the camera, making his the Mad Show debut. And I'm hoping we've got some contentious questions. We haven't seen the questions, so yeah, basically that's kind of the format. Without any further ado, producer Derek, do you want to give us our first try or lie?
Right, for the first question, the Springbok's defensive system relies more on raw aggression than tactical genius.
Yeah, that's quite a hectic question.
That's a big one. Steve, you've gone try. You agreeing? Come on, you're delaying this is going to be gut instinct.
Yeah, I know. But
No offense,
Go.
I'll do
Okay,
something
it's gonna be
different. I'll do
contentious.
something different.
All right.
I think there's obviously a big defensive. Obviously, there's a lot of defensive tactics to it, so let's not try and do it. But I do think it's a system that without, in many ways, I feel like the players are kind of almost more important to the system than the system is to the current players in a certain way. I think we've selected certain players very specifically in terms of our defensive system. I look back I was actually watching last night the greatest rugby game ever played, which was they basically said it was the France 2023 game. And I was watching Faf de Klerk coming off the bench, and there was a phase of play where they offered it 3 times. He was on every single player, and we basically drove behind the gain line. So it probably is more defensive, but I'm gonna throw in. That's my justification in terms of raw aggression. That rush-up defense, that even Ches and Colby Kirkley aren't. Until their defense was good enough in terms of the way they get up and make tackles, they were never going to play for the Springboks. Cool, you can pull me apart now.
Who's our defensive coach?
Jerry Fennery, yeah.
Can we get him on?
Jerry, I'm trying to help you here actually, and say maybe that was the issue. You didn't have the tools on Saturday with a couple of the line breaks and tries.
Sure. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. No, this is right up your street, bud. Like I want to hear from Mr. Technical.
No.
Tell us about our defense and why Stephen's wrong. That's actually the most important thing I want to know.
Well, I mean, you first and foremost can't defend if you're not physically up to the task. So
Correct.
Obviously, the most important thing of a rugby player is to physically be there. So it's kind of redundant. You can't be a good rugby player if you don't physically have the skill.
Hey,
Rugby players.
There were some players that got to some very high levels without being able to tackle.
Owen Farrell?
So here's then the next part that obviously comes to it. It's only when you've got a system, and because they spoke about it, they trust the system, and the system actually helped them kind of make the specific tackles. And because they didn't have the system in certain areas, they didn't make the tackles. So whether they were physically there or not, so the system mattered more than their physicality.
What if the system is to be raw and aggressive?
Yeah, but you can only be aggressive if you know where to be. You can only be outsmarted if you're in the wrong position.
Which
that makes sense.
I think we were a few times.
Correct.
This
So
weekend.
for me, tactically, you've got to be sound. Whether you've got small or big personnel, your job as a rugby player is to either attack or defend. But you need to understand what it is to do before you can make that decision.
Okay, it's very boring. Technical question. What's our second statement?
Well, okay, fair enough. You're not going to ask where's then, sorry.
No, nothing more can be said. I'm happy with that.
Right, the second one must come from a forward. There's nothing more satisfying than watching a far half get absolutely smashed after a pass.
Sure. Yeah, that's a try.
Nothing more satisfying.
For the forward, right? The
No,
forwards.
I think for the general rugby person, it's a hard life. I was a fly half.
Well,
Sorry, just change, make red there. That's a lie.
It's a lie.
yeah, that was.
The slowest fly half that they might have had, but no, I mean, it is a
One
try. I think
nevertheless.
even there, but yes, as somebody who, I'll never forget my first rugby, just a very little anecdote, my first rugby game, I actually was playing inside centre, and we had to play against a team with a couple of players who were a year older than us, and our fly half, the 8th man, broke off, largest man on the field. If we went to our fly half took one look at him, and just
Shifted.
I remember catching it here, looking down, and 2 minutes into my first rugby game in high school, and that was it. So, but let's be honest, there's nothing better. Hey, Wes, you were forward. You must have enjoyed that.
I lived. I was an 8th man,
Yeah.
and so lived for off the back of the scrum. As soon as that fly half got off the rucks, just looking for those ribs, and it was such a skill, coming back to sort of that physicality and technical skill side, to be able to time it just right. You got to make sure it's late enough where he feels it, and hard enough, but not early, too late where then you're getting penalised for it. So no, there were some delicious ribs I had back in the day, which was really good. So Steve, that's a great story.
Yeah, and Ronaldo's probably quick enough to get away from them.
Oh no, I was ghosts all day around Ronaldo.
Interesting
That
enough,
was,
because I played fly most of my junior rugby, and I hated the fact that I could be hit in the ribs, but I would have loved just passing the ball to the inside centre or winger, and they would score the try. So there's an inverse one as
Yeah,
well.
I suppose even
as
you
I've
get
left it,
and you're almost like mid and you're going, no,
Yeah.
I played you, boy.
Exactly. So I think it's a catch-22, but it's phenomenal to just see the fly off just
crunched.
screaming.
Yeah, crunched.
Dan Carter.
Well, you weren't allowed to tackle Dan Carter.
Yeah,
Bismarck learned that the hard way. Right, statement number 3.
Number 3, rugby union is losing its identity by trying to copy rugby league rules.
I suppose it depends on what happens to our scrums.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think the change they've made with the Maul is indicating that
Yes,
they're
I
coming
think
sort of.
let's give it a lot. I'm going to give World Rugby a 2 thumbs up because we've actually taken a bit of a step towards some of the forward play. What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't think that. I think you've got to also understand rugby itself has evolved, so you can't describe us evolving in rugby terms based on what other sporting codes are doing. Just because they've also progressed and it looks similar doesn't mean it has changed what rugby is about. Rugby is still fundamentally been a game, and I'm not going to go in the rules, but I don't think we've adapted too far away of what rugby is supposed to be.
Yeah, I think as you said, we've taken a step back, haven't we? A bit more towards your core principles of
Correct.
union.
Yeah, with the bringing back in the Maul, we've seen that, and obviously Rusty's very happy. I think we're all very happy. And true rugby fans are happy because we want it to be rugby union. We don't want it to be rugby league. There's a whole sport. So let's make sure we find the areas that are working well, that works well for rugby, as Ren said, and carry on those and celebrate those, right? Make them contests.
Yeah, look, nobody loves the set piece more than South Africans. Statement number 4.
I think another one from a forward. Every backline player secretly wishes that they were tough enough to play in the forwards.
So I'll give it a try. I'll give my reasoning just now.
Well, you two were backline players, so
I progressed to forward at varsity.
point proven.
Exactly, like Exhibit A.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it's a try.
Yeah, I think it's a try as well, to be fair. I think, Andre Esterhuizen.
Yeah,
Case
I was
closed.
about to say, give any centre the opportunity to tag onto a
closed.
scrum,
Yeah.
and they're there. They're like, oh, I want to get in. What happens with the Mauls? All the backline players run in when the Maul's just to the line and needs that extra support. They're all getting in there to be part of that glory. It's a special bunch, the forwards. You guys had your place, but there's a tight-knit group there, the forwards.
Although we can just say to you guys, the Craven Weekend Cheaters and Varsity Cup players.
Oh, you guys,
These
man.
under 14. Back in our day, Ronaldo.
Back in our day. I remember back in the day, you used to call us, we're having the tea party, because the backs used to always just come together and look like a teapot,
Yeah.
just look like that, and then the forwards are all down there. So no, it was always good to just imagine being able to make those carries, and I mean, like Joaquin Ahmed, but we'll talk about him later.
Yeah, no, fair. And I think producer Matt might have one more for us.
Yeah, your final trial lie. Wes has definitely practiced a goose step in his living room.
This week.
Well, this week.
Is there two of these?
Yeah.
I can confirm. Obviously, you down the hallway, there's a little. There's cards now. I don't know.
You can't come here and talk about hitting fly halves and nothing better than the rib tickler, and now you are sitting here, and we've just talked about the fact that every forward wants to be a backline player, and then admitting that you're busy goosing around your household.
Well, there wasn't the question every forward wants to be a backline
it's not
player.
the way
Do you
around.
not
But
think
okay.
we want to be able to have those movements?
It's a bunker check for an upgrade to the red card there. Where's know your place? Know your place. Jasper Wiese doesn't practice his goose steps.
He
Jasper?
actually does.
Yes,
But it's okay, Yassi.
come on, tell this man.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Okay, well, it's quite nice contentious actually.
Yeah,
I think
there's some disagreement.
it'll be interesting to see what. Well, jump in the comments. Where you guys do try and lies? Forwards, backs? Are you backing it? Or are you saying it's a no from you from what we're saying? I think we need to get a goose step competition.
Absolutely
We will not be doing a physicality competition. I'm too old to be running into people like Wes.
Agree. Well,
So
Are you okay? You young enough to
no,
be
I'm done.
stepped by
I'm
Wes
d-
because he's got goosies apparently.
we have a step
You
competition.
haven't seen my step, and you know what? You know, Wes, you're nice and physical. Ronaldo, you're nice and quick. One thing we do know that somebody's not particularly good at is the predictions.
Oh
Let's
yes.
get into the next phase, and we're going to have an interesting and fun time to see what has happened after last weekend. Right, lads, welcome to the pressure cooker segment. It is the next phase, proudly brought to you by MyPicks. If you have not already, make sure you go to mypicks.app and register, and you can play with us and get your predictions. And basically on MyPicks, you can predict the score, predict the team, by the way. Go and try and be Rusty Rasmus. Get your team predictions in and see how you think he's going to change the side. You can predict the scores. You can join leagues. You can play against your mates. After the weekends, you can rate your players, and we should do a rate the host segment afterwards. You can rate Wes and myself, and we can rate our guest as well. We can get ratings in for Ronaldo. Last week, Steve came out swinging.
Controversially,
We're not. Let
Literally.
it go. Let it go. Let it go.
never forget.
Let it
We
go.
will never forget.
Let it go.
Never.
Steve edging Ronaldo in the first week. Producer James not far behind. Wes essentially on holiday. The question.
No,
we're
he's
gonna
still
be
coming back to South Africa.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the question we're going to be asking now today is: has Wes fought back?
Absolutely.
That's good news, Wes. I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear positivity.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Because what did I score this week?
Well, let's going to go into it. So we do have updated rankings, and there is a change in the leaderboard. So
Yes, you see, I told you, massive improvement
so
from
we'll
me.
start with who is in last place after week 2.
Okay.
So a reminder, there were 6 matches this past weekend. The good news, all 6 of us did lock in our picks.
On time.
On time.
Fantastic.
So
That's
why
nice.
would you reference that?
Yeah,
Why is that
that's weird.
important to lock in your pick?
Because Wes forgot to pick one of the teams for one of the matches last weekend.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting.
So after week 2, in 4th place,
Yeah.
still in 4th place, Wes, you are sitting now with 58. Look, in fairness,
This is it.
that
Wow.
is a pretty big,
a big jump,
It's a
right?
pretty big improvement.
So what's that? 27 points there,
Yeah, it's more than doubled your first round.
which would have beat all of your scores in round 1. So actually,
Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Into our.
But you know the nice thing about having a second round, it's a second round. So let's see if you can beat us. Oh, sorry, you can't. You're already
Yeah.
fourth.
Yeah, you're
Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
well behind there. In 4th place, keeping tabs, but not too far to the thing. Producer James is sitting
Oh, he's
up to 55 points.
he's gone over his half
So
century.
yeah,
That's
he's
good.
raised the bat there. And that's all the time we have today.
on
the next phase.
Who's in second place there, Steve? What happened?
Unfortunately, there has been a change in the top of the leaderboard. And you know what the annoying thing is? I must just close out my predictions after like 60 minutes, which I know sounds very simplistic, but I think there were 3 matches where basically I was almost like on the money. And then they scored at the end, and I'm claiming insider trading because Ronaldo was getting some sort of information. The amount of like almost exact scores he got
Seriously.
this weekend was mental. So Steve is up to 68
Yeah, it's all right.
and leading.
Can I just ask you to just make that black and not so that we can
No,
see the leader is
because
red?
the leader's in black.
Leaders in black.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes.
so double check. Are you sure you're not leading?
And very smug.
But deservedly so. Oh my goodness.
Ronaldo up to 75 points. Look, with this is not far away.
No.
Look, this is far away.
Well, I should have beaten you last week. So I did.
Yeah, well,
So 2
you
weeks in
didn't.
a row.
But yeah, look, and now we're going to be moving into this, and this is what's going to be interesting because these two lads, I'm going to be polite, have got their predictions lined up, and I'm still looking at who's playing this weekend. As it's been
Lovely.
It's been that kind of week, unfortunately. Let's get into our predictions, guys. I don't really need a novel or a novella. I just need your prediction. Because you've tried to justify yours last week. Yes, you did double your points. You also did not make that much movement up towards us. But where's he going to get the first prediction? Because it's the hardest one. And you've got it written down. That's actually what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to get boards. Everyone was right there as down before, and they mustn't be able to change. Because that's, I think, the biggest problem is people are changing.
Are you referring to yourself?
No. Where's New Zealand versus Ireland?
New Zealand, Ireland, I think New Zealand are going to take it 35 points to 26. New Zealand 35, Ireland 26.
Sure.
Short and to the point. I like the confidence.
It's going to be a different week. Week 3 is my week, boys.
Love
so,
that.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it was a halfway point. And then we're going to revisit this towards the end of the year.
Exactly.
Ronaldo, what have you got for us?
No, I'm with you with the 30s there. I'm going a little bit more conservative in terms of the point difference. So I think that Ireland will must muster up just 30 points, and New Zealand will edge them with another try right in the dying moments. 37-30 in favour of New Zealand.
If that happens, we've got proof that Ronaldo is a
in
time
South
traveller.
Australia.
No, it's fucking Marty McFly from Back to the Future. He's got the sports book.
Yeah, literally. And in which case, can I give you my bet slip?
So we can actually do it.
And then you can
Make some money.
all of a sudden, this podcast will look very different. We'll be doing this live outside, like the Millennium Stadium at the Six Nations. Okay, well, I'm going to put in a point of difference. I'm calling a up against it, under pressure, Andy Farrell, turning things around and getting a win. So I'm going to go Ireland 36, New Zealand 28.
Sure. Okay.
Tight margins across the board.
Where are they playing, Steve? Eden Park, boy.
Yeah, but we beat
Just
them.
say.
It's fine. It's his pick. Anyway.
You know what? It's
okay.
Call it a Hail Mary. But
Man's desperate. He's desperate.
if
You
that
got him on the
result
ropes.
goes my way, you're in trouble.
And
You're
that's
in
all
trouble.
right.
Look, not always at the sports book, okay? Japan, France, what have you got for us?
So I think it's going to be an 18-point gap there. So it's going to be a tough one for me. It's so difficult with this one. So I'm going to go that. Yeah, Japs will probably rock up. I think. It's very difficult. I think they're going to score exactly 18.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think that.
You're doing the maths now. 18 plus 18.
20.
Okay.
No. So then you're going to have 42. Am I correct? No. Just do it. Yeah.
On Mathlet.
If it's math by 2, then you're at 36.
Yeah.
So 36, 18.
Yeah.
Cool. Where's?
Right. Funny enough, you can confirm I've got that down there.
That is awesome.
So I've also gone Japan 18 points, but France by 40.
France by 40.
Sorry, no, France 40.
That's why I also got France.
By 40. I want to do better. So France 40, Japan 18.
Lovely. Steve?
I'm going to give Japan a few more. I'm going to go France 34, Japan 22.
Okay, sounds wrong, but okay. Australia and
Why,
Italy.
does it sound where's
I'm doing the opposite. I literally wrote down my predictions and then did the opposite.
nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it's cool though.
Australia versus Italy. I'm thinking Australia will get the monkey off their back and get a victory. I'm been a bit disappointed by Italy. They haven't quite been able to pull things together despite having Menoncello, who is the GOAT. So I'm going to give Australia 30. I'm going to give Italy 24. I think it will be quite close.
Oh, fair enough. That's not a bad shot. No, I think Australia's going to get off that, but I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't know for some reason. So I think 29, 20, 9-point difference there. Australia beating... Yeah.
Again, quite similar. Like I've also gone for Australia 25, Italy 18.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tight game. I'm hoping we can see Italy rock up. I mean, they've got the coolest centre pairing in the world. They must operate.
Yeah.
Fiji versus Scotland. Wes, we're back to you.
Yeah, so tricky because with Fiji, but I think Scotland, if they can play the way they did this past weekend, 45 points to the Scots, and the Fijians hopefully will muster a few more with 15. So 45 to Scotland, 15 to Fiji.
Okay, I'm going big. I'm going Scotland 60 and Fiji. I think Fiji will get more, but I'll get Fiji at 14.
Okay.
60 for me, 18.
Now, you see, I think
22 points,
if England put that kind of before, and I know if Fiji got a red card, but if the Scottish side click,
Yeah.
I think they'll score. I mean, they put over 50 points in the French.
Yeah.
South Africa versus Wales. Ronaldo, lead us off.
Yeah, I checked. Durban has always been a little bit of a weird one for us sometimes in the past, but I do think because the Welsh team is just up and coming, I do think we'll edge them. I think 18-point difference there for me as well. I think you're gonna pump them in the second half again there. Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit higher, so 58.
Ooh.
And I think I'll give my maths. I only wrote my differences. So
40, 58, 40. 18-point
18
difference.
points.
100%.
Yo, that's a harsh
You think the Welsh are putting on 40 points on the Boks?
I
I can't really argue with the Oak sitting on the top of the
this
logs.
is the thing. I'm like, yeah, but anyway.
No, I've gone a little bit more conservatively. I'm going to stick because it's been the one number out of the one team that I've done quite well on. The Boks putting 40 points because the last 2 weeks they've done that. So I think 47. So I think it'll be high 40s, and I think the Welsh will get on the board at 17. So a 40-point difference in that case.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm going to go 50 points to 21.
50-21.
Okay.
That's very interesting.
We'll see more to cook.
Are you okay? Fair enough. Yeah. Should actually ask who scored the score first.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Wales, actually. Argentina versus England. Where's finish us?
Okay, I am going to go for an English win. I think they'll be riding over the confidence of last weekend. I think Argentina will be feeling it too. I think the English will, I think they'll get over the line.
This is a good time to give you. This is your
going
hat of
to-
shame, by the way, for losing last weekend. Put your hat on and tell us
That should have been
again.
done in the beginning.
Yeah, tell us again who you think is going to win between Argentina and England.
So the cool thing, I think you guys can get these as at checkers or something. Where does
It pops.
does that work?
Yeah, a little bit messed up on the one side, looking like
Right.
a bit of a
There you go.
special
You're a
Springbok.
little deflated like your prediction, but it's okay.
Okay, now tell us again. Argentina to lose to England.
Argentina to lose to England. England 28, Argentina 25. I think it's going to be
Ooh,
very, very
nice.
close,
I
but I
like
do
that.
think the English are going to take
I
it.
like that. I do like the difference there. Very nice. I think it's going to be a very cool one. Unfortunately, Wes, I do not back.
That's
England
fine. No,
in
that's
that
fine.
regard. I do
Yeah,
think
you can
that
be
they-
welcome back.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
good.
friend of the pod.
100%. Yeah. So 34 RGs, but I do think England will fight back. So 34-30. RGs win by 4.
I've got Argentina 38, England 26. I think it's going to be.
Okay.
I think that Argentina side, it's in Argentina, so England will again have to travel. So it's another long flight for them. I also think that I saw celebrations from England in the change rooms this last weekend, and they mustn't get ahead of themselves. So I'm hoping Argentina are going to just remind them.
But I do think Benart might be selected. To
Oh,
start.
true.
So I do think.
England 75.
So no, I do think that's
And I
going
also
to be
think
a
that
big
Pollock will,
point.
I think Pollock will start as well.
Big point of difference there. I do want to, see forward. It doesn't matter. It's another conversation.
Yes. Okay. Well, there we go. We've got the predictions locked in.
Locked in.
Lock in your predictions on mypicks.app. Gentlemen, great show.
100%.
Lots of
As
fun.
always.
Another good
It's
weekend of
nice.
rugby. And after this, we're going to be starting a bit of international rugby. So we need to make sure we enjoy this weekend. But at the same time, after this, we start gearing up for the greatest rivalry tour,
Absolutely.
which is going to be
phenomenal.
lots of fun. Ronaldo, we've got an episode of Rugby Unlocked coming up.
Yes.
Lots to look forward to. Wes, we will see you. We will see you next week.
We will see you,
We
yeah.
will see you next week. We will not see you the following week.
No,
Or is it next week we're not seeing you?
that's it. We're not seeing you next week. I'm off to Zambia this week.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
fantastic,
going to be
yeah.
awesome. So I'm going around some of the camps there. So I'm
You're trying to get to a player pathway program for Zambia?
Yeah,
or?
exactly. I've tried the German route. It didn't work. No, but I'm going out to Zambia to go see some of the camps I work for. So really excited about that.
gonna
But
be awesome.
unfortunately, I will not be with you guys next week on the Mad Podcast. I'm sure, Steve, you got someone to replace me. Do I take this to Zambia? Is this?
Yeah,
is
I think you take that to
I have
Zambia.
to take.
And you've got to, actually, what you need to do is record a video when you land in Zambia
Okay.
with that. Actually, on the plane, leaving SA.
We actually need a whole vlog in that hat
Literally,
throughout the week. That is
Right.
your forfeit for
I think-
2 weeks in a row.
I think everyone wants to see where's taking.
Yeah.
What do you call this? Bookie.
We'll call him Borky.
Bookie.
Bookie. Or where's he?
If we can nail your name afterwards. Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
So where's on tour?
Where's on tour? Bookie
Well-
and where's on tour?
We keep telling Ronaldo, can you just keep filling in for us? We might just put Ronaldo in. We'll put him into the hot seat there, and we'll bring in a guest over here. And Ronaldo can just take on.
Or I can just do dual mode. Eh?
There we go. Jump between the two. Well, we'll see who's here next week. I will be here next week. You know, the rain comes and the snow comes and the economy changes and Stephen remains. So please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe. You can listen to this on Spotify and all the likes of that, as well as find us on all the various different socials at The Mad Show, ZA. And we'll see you guys all next week. Gentlemen, thank you.
Well done.
Thanks.
Cheers, Steve. Cheers, Wes.
Cheers, eh?
Ciao, ciao.